Fantastic. So you've decided you are going to move, or you're seriously considering a move to the Nashville, Middle Tennessee area. Great. What next? Do you start going on Zillow? And I know everybody goes to Zillow, so you go to Zillow and you heart up houses that you like, and then you're going to get a bunch of phone calls constantly of people wanting to hound you and see if they can't sell you a house. You don't want that yet. I know you don't. I wouldn't. What are the next steps? How do you find the best suburbs, the best neighborhoods for you, the right schools, distance from your work? Way before you want to look for the perfect home, how do you find these things? What are your next steps to make a very smooth transition as easy as possible? That's what this video is about. I'm going to share all those secrets with you right here. I'm Susan Thetford. I am a realtor here in the Nashville, Tennessee area of over 35 years. I'm also a native Nashvillian, so I've seen this city grow tremendously, but especially in the last 5-7 years. I am a retired general contractor, so I know a thing or two about building and the building process and construction. So I think I'm pretty well rounded enough to be able to share with you and answer your questions that you may have about a move to Nashville, the best locations, the best places, and you know what, and putting you with the right people, because there's not just one person that helps you through a transition to a new area. It takes a team. Oh, and before I forget to mention it, go ahead, download my relocation guide. It is new up to 2024. We talk about neighborhoods, suburbs, all the things that you might need to know to get a good general overview of the Nashville SMSA. Lots of questions are going to be answered right there. Lots of links are in there for doing some safety and crime mapping, all the things that you're going to want to know, some school info. Even if you want to click off now, don't do it yet. Grab that relocation guide. Then I think you need to stay around anyway. Your first step to have this be an easy process is set up a Zoom call. I'm going to give you a Calendly link, but set up a Zoom call with me so we can talk for about 30 minutes, face to face, just like this. I want to see your face. I can answer questions. The conversation's going to go something like this. Tell me about yourself. What brings you to Nashville? What intrigues you about Nashville? Are you coming for a job? Are you coming because you want to get away from maybe the tax situation in your state? Are your family here? I want to get to know you. So it's kind of a question and answer period of just getting to know you. From that, I promise you, I'm taking some notes. I want to remember things. You're going to start talking about what intrigues you about Nashville, what you like. I'm going to hear things that's going to help me think of locations that would be the best for you. Again, not houses, not streets, but communities. What are the things that you love to do? Will you be working from home? What are the things you like to do as a family? Distance to airport that you need to be. Distance to shopping. Do you want large size because you want to grow yourself a large garden? Do you want to have horses and chickens? And I want to hear the things that's going through your mind if you're just dreaming about what this new community is going to do for you. I'm taking all kinds of notes. Why is that? It's going to help me piece together the puzzle of putting all of Nashville together for you in finding the right locations potentially. Once we've kind of gotten through that get to know you phase, I'm also going to ask you questions about what do you think your budget's going to be? What do you want to spend on a home? And yeah, that sounds kind of crass, but I can find some perfectly lovely, probably answering every single one of your wish list. But if it happens to be at the 2-3 million price point and you're at 1-1, I don't want to send you that direction. We're going to talk about the things that are necessary to help you focus in the right direction of what might be best for you. And you may not know the budget. That's okay. I've got the connections to help give you a couple different lenders' names, and we can talk through it. But you know about where you want to be, and we'll fine-tune that. You know about where you want to be in your budget. I'm going to ask you questions about this. What do you want in your dream home? What is the community like? Is it on a small lot with walking trails and new construction, open floor plan? Do you want swimming pool, tennis courts, pickleball? Do you want those things? Or no, you want half acre to an acre or 5 acres? You do not want an HOA. You are adamant you don't want an HOA. All those things I need to know to be able to put these pieces together. Once we've talked a little about your budget of where you think you want to be, we will know for a certainty a little bit later on, but those things I need to know, and I'm taking lots and lots and lots of notes. Whether you're working with me or somebody else, this is how it should work. Taking lots of notes to keep that informed. I'm also going to be asking questions of the why you're moving, when you plan on moving. Is there definite needs and time frames, or is this just a wish list and maybe it's 6 months to a year off? That conversation will end a little bit differently in how we set up searches. I'll get to that in a minute as well. That would be different about whether we do a pre-qual or pre-approval. These things all matter. They're not just questions because I'm filling up time. So once we've got all that put together, then, and of course, you can ask any questions that you want. My next step would be in sharing with you what the process is. What does it look like in buying a home here in the Nashville, Tennessee area? Because many people, many states I'm finding have quite a different process. So we'll talk a little bit about what is our process of buying a home here in the Nashville, Tennessee area. Getting something under contract, inspection periods, resolution periods, when is earnest money given? When do you determine all these things? In our contracts, every single piece of that contract that pertains to this, from beginning to closing and handing you the keys, all of those things are defined on the paperwork and negotiated in the contracts. I'm finding that to be quite different than in other states. Some of these items are kind of decided later and later and later, and that leaves a lot of ambiguity. Doesn't happen that way here. So to give you a quick little timeline, it takes about 30 days to close home if you're getting a loan from start to finish. So from the day we have a negotiated contract to the closing date, and typically the keys in your hand. Now that's negotiated. It might be a 24 hours or 48 hours for possession, but that's all negotiated in the contract. It will take about 30 days. If you have no loan, it depends on what the seller can do and how soon you want to be here. But that gives you an idea of how long you've got. From the minute a contract is accepted, meaning you've gotten through all negotiations, from its acceptance, then earnest money is given, inspection period begins. I would be helping set up an inspection through a number of different inspectors. You choose which one you want to use. We'll set up an inspection. We'll get the inspection done. We'll write up any kind of repair list and negotiate those repairs over that resolution period. Then what happens is your lender is said, okay, we're past the inspection period. Now you need to get all the rest of your documentation to the lender. An appraisal will be ordered, an appraisal will be done, appraisal will come back in. Final documentation with the lender is taken care of. They've taken a look at everything to make sure it still makes good sense. Your title attorney that we will already negotiated, title attorney is working with you then to set up all the timing for the closings. But that's essentially the process of the whole situation. Once you're under contract, you've got about a week's worth of a lot of busy work because your lender's going to want a whole lot of information to verify what's already been pre-approved, but your lender's going to need a whole lot of that verification to keep that ball running so that we can be closed within 30 days. So what happens if your situation is a little bit more complicated than that? What happens if you have a home to sell in your area? It's now not on the market. It's not closed yet. It's not sold yet. What happens then? 3 things. That adds a little kink or two to the process. I'll ask you those kind of questions. Do you have an agent that you really like and you really trust? Would you like a couple names of people? Because through my company, I know people throughout the country and they belong to many of the groups that I belong to. I can recommend 1 or 2 if you would want to continue some research. If you have somebody that you know and like, maybe your house is already on the market. I'll ask those questions. What's your market like? What do you project the sales timing to be? All these things are very, very important. I always like to work with whatever realtor is working with you in your hometown to get a feel of that market. Why? Not being nosy. It's if we find a home here, I need to know what's going on in your location so I can be your advocate here in the Nashville area with another seller's agent. So these are pieces and parts that are super important that help maybe put your offer in front of another person's, as long as the communication stays open and clear. One other idea here, maybe your timing is maybe off for a year before you want to move to the Nashville area, but you will be having a home to sell. I suggest you grab my Prep for Profit guide. In this, you're going to see the things that I recommend are good to do. You need to keep your house in good maintenance order and clean, of course. But there are some upgrades that you might consider doing during this interim period to make your house sell as quickly as possible. But there's going to be some things that are more expensive than they're worth that you'll get your money back out of. And some things that are highly worth it and they don't cost a whole lot of money. So if that's of interest to you, whether you're moving here or not, you want to grab my Prep for Profit guide right here. And if you're thinking of selling in a year, 2 years, go ahead and do some of these things so you can go ahead and enjoy it now. I cannot tell you how many people have told me they wish they'd done some of the updates that I suggested they do because they didn't realize how great the house could look, and gosh darn it, they might even want to just stay because they love their home. So far on this call, we've talked about your needs, your desires, your wants in a new community, in a neighborhood. We've talked about your family. We've talked about school needs. We've talked about driving needs. We've talked about lot sizes. We've described the basics of a house that you want. And by that, I mean really the basics of what you want. You've asked me if you need lenders' names. I can give you a couple of the lenders' names so that we can do a pre-approval and a pre-qualification if you're maybe moving off in a year. If you plan to move in the next 90 days to 6 months, and let's go ahead and work on that pre-approval. So this is me in editing mode, and the word should have been pre-qualification, not pre-approval. If you need to know the difference in those, we'll talk about that too. This is a question and answer period. I want this to make it as informative as possible for you. In this call, we've also talked about what is the process, what does it look like, what is the time frame, what are the steps involved with actually buying a house here in the Nashville area. The third thing we'll talk about is, okay, what is the next step? What is the process? Maybe we know the price point you want. You've given me all the specifications that you want in a home, and you do plan on being here in the next 3 months. I'm going to give you my lenders' names. I'm going to suggest you go ahead and get in touch with them ASAP. Go ahead and fill out loan application so we can get a pre-approval because you plan on being here in 3 months. No one's accepting offers here that don't have a pre-approval from a lender. And I suggest you get a local lender. And if you got questions about that, ask me why. Local, not a large chain or your bank. We've talked about those things. Then what I'd say is my next step would be that lender will get a pre-approval information from you. That lender will get back in touch with me to say, look, Susan, they're approved for $1.3 million. They don't want to spend. I'm going to set up a search, and I'm going to set up a search for what you tell me, the max of where you want to spend. So I've got all the tools now in my tool belt to set up a search for you in the areas, in the location that is deemed correct for you. And that's going to be either a suburb of Nashville or a specific location, depending on some of the things that we talked about. It may be a specific county. Let me give you an idea. For the call that I had today, the specific county they wanted was Williamson County, where I am right now, and I talk about it a lot. Lots of in-depth videos here. They want Williamson County because of the school district. They want at least a 4-bedroom home. They do not want an HOA, but they're not adamant they can't have one. They just want to see everything that doesn't have an HOA involved. Now, I also know they want brand new construction. I know they want an open floor plan. They want at least 10-foot ceilings. They want at least a 2-car garage. I'm going to set up the basic search, which would be room sizes, location, the 2-car garage. I'm not going to do specifics like open concept or brand new construction because I happen to know that there's not a lot of brand new construction or any in the area that they wanted to be in at that price point. That's where the price point comes in. I do not want to get you all excited about a house that can't do. So I know those things, that basic search criteria, then I'm going to have it verified with the lender. Once the lender verifies it with me, then I'm going to set up a search, a manual search for all the homes that fit those criterion, and I'm going to send that to you on a daily basis. If you want to be here in the next 3 months, if you want to be here in a year, I'll send it to you once a week. You don't need specifically to learn the market this quickly because you're just watching to see and you're learning about it. If you're looking to be here in 3 months, and we know it takes 30 days from the time that you get under contract, we may lose several houses. So we need to be seriously looking daily for homes that fit your criterion. Then hopefully you've got a long list of homes, 10, 12 homes a day, or at least every couple days to take a look at. Probably not. If nothing comes in one day, it means there's just nothing new on the market for you. But hopefully you'll have enough to really get to learn the market. Then you can call, no, this one looks too old, it doesn't look updated enough. But you'll be surprised. There are some 1990s homes that have larger lots, maybe half acre, and have been updated that really look really nice. And if you don't want an HOA and you don't want 0.15 of an acre, that older home may be perfect fit for you. So I don't want to choose for you what you want. I want you to be able to see everything and then make the right choice for yourself. So I've talked about my prep for profit. You need to download that. Go ahead and get that if you're thinking of moving, or even if not. I mean, who doesn't question how far I should update my kitchen if I put on a new deck, and decks are not cheap? Will I get my money back? Or what are some of the most expensive things that maybe I shouldn't do? Or what are inexpensive things that always is going to pay off? This is a good checklist for you. Number 2, go ahead, download my relocation guide. It will help you such that when I say, hey, based on your needs, I think Williamson County is going to be the best. Based on the needs and desires and the budget, we're not going to find it in Brentwood. We probably will find it in Franklin, Spring Hill, maybe over into Fairview area. This relocation guide also tells you about each one of those communities, so you can get a little bit more in depth. And again, I've got lots of videos on each one of these areas here in my YouTube channel. So I've set up your search. Maybe you can't get here. Maybe you live across the country and you can't get here, but you see a house that looks great all day long. I do FaceTime videos for people to see the house. You have seen the pictures. Now let's go do a walkthrough of the house. Let's see what it looks like. I can drive you through the community. You can see what it looks like on a Saturday, how many cars are seeing in the neighborhoods. You can see how much traffic there is. You can see how close it is to the grocery stores. You physically, or as if you're in the side seat with me in the car. I'm also walk through the house with you. You can say, turn around. I need to see how far the stairs are from that front door, or how tall the windows are, because I have a very tall headboard and I want it to not cover the windows. Anything that's pertinent to you, if you can't get here immediately, because we are still moving pretty quickly, especially at some price points. If you can't get here pretty quickly, you just don't need to wait, and you don't need to jump on an airplane, because it might be a waste of money and time and effort. I can FaceTime video for you. Then, if you want to come, we see it looks great, come on down. But that's part of the process. And this is exactly what you would learn in a Zoom call. All these things and more, because you're going to have other questions, and I've got answers. So remember that couple that I mentioned? They wanted to be a max of up to 1.3, 4 bedrooms, Williamson County. They really want no HOA, but they wanted to see everything that was available, not built after 1995. Do you want to see the 3 best homes that I could share with them? Take a quick look. This is what they're getting in their inbox this afternoon. So what do you think? Is a 30-minute Zoom call going to be worth your while? If so, check out that Calendly link. Let's talk. Let's find out how I might help you in finding your perfect home, your perfect neighborhood, your perfect move here to the Nashville area. Until next week.